Hello, my name is Matt Schnars, and I'm one of the organizers of the Bull City Fresh Start process where we will canvass, count, and connect to prevent and end homelessness in Durham. This tutorial is part of our virtual training series that community volunteers and other local stakeholders will be required to complete as part of preparation for the components of Bull City Fresh Start. Please review the additional training modules for details about the three event components. This tutorial will explain how to administer the direct face-to-face interview version of the mobile app survey. A direct face-to-face interview means you are engaging people who do not have stable housing in a face-to-face dialogue as part of the interview. Volunteers administering this version of the survey should do so in teams of between 2 and 5 people, should be experienced with engaging unsheltered people or have completed this training, and should have approval of Bull City Fresh Start administrators. Survey responses will be used to coordinate housing for respondents and will be used to complete a comprehensive count that will provide a better understanding of the nature of homelessness in Durham. When administering the direct face-to-face interview questions, read the question texts and prompts as they are written on the mobile app screens. Questions are standardized from the Department of Housing and Urban Development and are intentionally worded in a manner that is intended to improve response rates and ensure accuracy of the responses. Most questions in the survey are marked as required, and an answer choice must be selected from the pick lists, but the response of "don't know" refused can be used for any question respondents do not want to answer. Historically, there have rarely been instances where people do not want to answer questions. However, some questions are sensitive and the person may not want to answer or may not know the answer, so "don't know" refused is the best option to use. Nearly all the questions are multiple choice and simply require touch of the selected response on your mobile app screen. The direct face-to-face survey will take 10 minutes or less for each person to complete. There are 4 short preliminary questions in the survey. See the observation-only survey training video and slides to review how to complete these if you've not already done so. After the preliminary screens are complete, select Direct Face-to-Face Interview from the survey type screen. Next, read the introductory paragraphs that explain to the respondent what the survey is about and request their permission to proceed. If the person indicates they do not want to proceed, stop the survey and click Back on the mobile app screen, which will take you back to the survey type question. Select Observation Only and complete the questions as an observation only survey. If the person consents to participation, proceed to the next screens which ask if the person has previously completed the survey with another COUNT volunteer. This question is intended to prevent duplicate surveys from being completed on the same person. If the person indicates they have completed a survey with another volunteer, check Yes and you will be directed to the survey notes section where you can indicate a survey was already completed on the person. Click No if the person has not previously completed the survey. Sleep location is the next question in the survey. Use the scroll bar on the right side of the screen to view the long list of pick list options. Select the location that best describes where the person will sleep on the day or night you are administering the survey. The response to sleep location question is very important as it will prompt different subsequent questions relevant to the response. The next few slides will explain in detail how to select the most appropriate option and will show the subsequent questions that will be prompted based on the pick list selections for sleep location. The first 7 pick list options apply to persons encountered in what are commonly referred to as unsheltered locations. The list of options is intended to be comprehensive, however, it may not fully describe all possible circumstances where people are sleeping unsheltered. The most appropriate option select the most appropriate option and make notation at the end of the survey to further describe any unsheltered sleep location that is not included in the pick list options. The next two pick list options are emergency shelter or transitional housing. If the person responds that they will sleep in one of these locations, two subsequent questions will be prompted in the survey. Select the name of the shelter or transitional housing program where the person indicates they will sleep from the pick list. Use Other if the shelter or transitional housing program is not in the pick list. Next, ask the person if the shelter or transitional housing program requested information about their prior living situation before they began sleeping in the shelter. The next pick list location option asks if the person will sleep in a hotel or motel. Many times, people who are experiencing homelessness are able to pay for stays in hotels from night to night, or may have a social service organization or church pay for hotel stays for periods of time. If the person indicates they will sleep in a hotel or motel, the next question will ask if the person paid for the hotel with help of another organization. There are 6 pick list options that we categorize as an institution. If the person indicates they stayed in one of these locations, select this option. A question will be prompted that will ask for the name of the institution. Ask the person the name of the facility and write it in the text box prompt. If the person does not know the name, write "doesn't know" in the box. The next sleep location pick list option is house or apartment. Sometimes people experiencing a housing crisis have temporary places to stay with friends or family and may have an apartment that they are trying to maintain. If the person indicates that they are staying in a house or apartment, there will be 3 questions prompted in the survey that are intended to gauge the stability of the person's housing. Read the questions exactly as they are written on the screens and select yes, no, or don't know refused from the pick list response options. After sleep location questions are complete, you will be prompted to read an introductory paragraph to the person about the next series of questions that is meant as a transition to the next phase of the survey. There are question prompts for first name, last name, and date of birth. The responses to these questions are very important to ensure we do not double count people in our process. If the person does not want to give their full first name and last name, record their first 2 initials of the first name and first 2 initials of their last name. The birth date screen is a scroll bar where you use the scroll bar to record the person's date of birth. This can be skipped if the person does not want to provide this. However, it is important to ask for the date of birth and record it if the person provides it. The next questions are age range, ethnicity, gender, and race. Read the question and pick list as written and select the response to these basic demographic questions from the pick lists on the screens. Veteran status will be the next demographic category. Veteran status and reservist questions will appear in the survey for all respondents. Only if the person responds yes to one of these questions, indicating they are a veteran, will the subsequent questions appear that ask about the nature of their veteran status. Read the question and pick list exactly as written and record the responses. The next questions ask about the degree to which the person's sleeping location has persisted. These questions are used to gauge the person's housing stability. Read the questions and pick lists as written and select the responses in the survey. The next question asks if the person's last place to sleep was in Durham. If the response is no, a question will be prompted that will ask if the person's last stable place to sleep was in North Carolina. Read the questions and select the person's response. Next, there are a series of sensitive health and medical questions that all survey respondents will be prompted to answer. While these questions are sensitive, they're very important for understanding what may be some of the person's obstacles to obtaining and maintaining stable housing. The questions are worded in a manner that is intended to be least intrusive and make the person feel comfortable answering the questions. Read the questions exactly as written. If the person does not want to answer the question, select Don't Know Refused from the pick list. The next series of questions are intended to gauge the housing barriers that may exist which cause the person's housing to be unstable. These questions will help us understand what the barriers are and what we need to do to help people transcend those barriers. Read the questions as written and select the response from the pick lists. Next, a question will appear that asks if the person would like someone to follow up with them to help them find housing. If the person responds yes, 3 subsequent screens will appear in the survey which are optional. If the person has an email address or a phone number, record them as appropriate. There is also a photo capture option in the mobile app that will appear. Ask the person for permission to take their picture so we can confirm their identity and ensure homeless housing providers can follow up with them. The photo capture is optional, but it can be very helpful. Next, there will be 2 prompts that will ask if there are other adults 18 years old or over, or other children under 18 years old who are sleeping where the respondent is sleeping tonight and are considered members of their household. It's very important to be clear that these questions are asking if the other persons, adults or children, are sleeping in the same location with them on the night the survey is being administered. The person may have children or may have other relatives, but this question is only meant to count the other household members who are sleeping in the same location with the person being surveyed. Read questions exactly as written. If the person answers yes to the children or other adults questions, you'll be prompted to ask the person for a number of the other persons. Then the mobile app will repeat the series of questions the primary survey respondent just completed. If the other adult person is a non-related adult when the survey is administered, select No for the other adult prompt, and once the survey is completed, initiate a separate survey in the mobile app with the other adult. Historically, there have been very few multiple person households sleeping in unsheltered locations together. Use the Survey Notes section to indicate any pertinent information about the survey that was not captured in the question responses or any other information you want the administrators to know about the survey that you completed. Be sure to click Finish on the final screen so survey responses are uploaded from your device. This concludes this tutorial on the direct face-to-face interview version of the mobile app survey. Review and complete the separate tutorials which provide details on other aspects of our process. Contact our office at 919-560-4570 if you have any questions. Thank you. Goodbye.